Hi folks, just down here at my brother's, just going to do a couple of jobs on his van. The next job I'm going to do is fit this 300 watt inverter. I'm just going to put it just here, just so it's accessible. And I'm going to also, whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to make it so the car stereo, the interior lights and the 12 volt sockets all work off the leisure battery rather than the car battery. So I'm going to show you how to do that. To fit the inverter, I'm going to use this thick car audio amp wire, and also need these little things for a fuse box bypass that I'm going to do. That will sort the leisure battery stuff. So the first job is to run this thick red wire from the leisure battery through the bulkhead and get it to roughly the position I want it in. So I'll start on that and bring you back once I've got it going. So there you go, that's this wire roughly in position. I'm going to obviously cable tie it up once I've got my connections done. I really should have disconnected the batteries, so I'm going to do that next. I'm going to start messing with the actual electrical connections. For this stage I wasn't actually messing with the connections, but to be on the safe side, it's always best to disconnect your batteries. So I've got this wire, I've got a fuse that needs to go on here, a heavy duty fuse that's in this box somewhere. I'll find that. And then fuse will go to there, and then that'll connect to your positive wire. And then this goes all the way along, and hopefully you can see it there. Just goes through that rubber grommet there where the wire's already been made, where a hole's already been made for the wire. Okay, now I've got the wire through, it comes through under the dash, and I've got it running down to here. It'll be tucked under this trim eventually, well eventually today I mean. And then it's going to run along here where the rest of these wires are running, and then back to here, which is where I'm going to mount the inverter, just there. Before that I'm going to mount this single bus 4-way fuse box, so the fat wire is going to come into the bottom of this, and then I'm going to take 3 smaller ones off to go back to the fuse box of the van, and I'll show you the why after. And then one is going to be a fat wire that comes off to go to the inverter. So I'll get these mounted and then I'll bring you back. Okay, that's the inverter mounted there. I had hoped to cover this with heat shrink tape or heat shrink tubing, but I actually didn't have enough to do it. And that's a fuse box in there. So next job is just get the wires hooked up, so I'll get on with that. So now we've got that done, I want to move on to the van fuse box and pull the fuses for the things, for the items we're going to run off the leisure battery. So we'll start with the first one, which is the car stereo. Now there is a fuse removal tool just here, but it's absolutely useless. It doesn't grip very well, so I just use a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers. So the car stereo is run off this fuse. So we pull that, and with the small connectors we got, I've just put these on the wires and heat shrink tube on them. We put that into the blower of the 2 pins from the fuse we just take out, and just leave the fuse out. This wire then runs back to the this wire will then run back to the fuse box or the fuses that we've just fitted. So we do that for each of the items. So it's going to be stereo, and then I think it's these ones here. Okay, I've just checked, and it seems that the stereo and the interior lights run off this first fuse, so that's going to make it less work, and the power sockets run off this end fuse. So I'm going to pull that, and then it will be just 2 wires I need to run to the back, so that's good because it will give me an extra fuse point in the rear for putting more lighting in the cupboards later on. Okay, that's all the wires now hooked up to the fuse box. Still got to run an earth wire for the inverter. So all the wires just run under there. So I'm going to tuck them in, and that's it, around to the bottom pins in the fuse box. Under the bonnet, still got to cable tie this red wire up. I've just added the fuse holder for the 30 amp fuse, and I'll get that all connected up and then check everything works. That's the wire under the bonnet all hooked up now, just as it started pouring down, so hopefully I can shut this bonnet. Well, that's it, that's the inverter hooked up and working. The stereo and the power socket and the interior lights are all working now. Nothing was working when I first tried it. That was because the leisure battery was totally flat. One of the fuses had blown on the charging circuit, so it obviously hadn't been getting charged for a while. I'll see if it'll take some power now though. Everything seems to be working.